Floyd Mayweather, the man who built an empire on millions, who called himself money and flaunted stacks of cash like no one else, is now at the center of an absolutely massive financial and legal storm. Debts, creditors, tensions with multiple parties, the image of the untouchable king is starting to crack. And what's most shocking is that some are talking about a situation that is completely out of control, one that could mark an irreversible turning point in his life. In this video, we're going to break everything down step by step. And be warned, you are definitely not ready for what's coming next. Reports surfaced that shook the boxing world. The IRS filed a $7.3 million lien against Floyd Mayweather in Las Vegas for unpaid taxes. Not a warning, not a letter, a lien, which is the government's way of saying, we have a legal claim on everything you own. The lien was filed last month in Las Vegas, where Mayweather owns multiple properties, and public records indicate that the $7.3 million balance was still unpaid. An attorney for Mayweather declined to comment. Now, here's the thing. A tax lien is essentially the government's legal claim against your property. It protects the government's interest in all your property, including real estate, personal property, and financial assets. That means if the IRS decides to escalate this, the government can seize and sell assets such as bank accounts, real estate, and personal property. But this is Floyd Mayweather. Over the course of his career, he has generated over $1.1 billion in career earnings. So, how does a man who earned $1.1 billion end up with the IRS knocking at his door? The answer is this isn't the first time. The undefeated fighter has a long documented history of tangling with the IRS. Mayweather famously owed the IRS $22.2 million for his taxes, the year he fought Manny Pacquiao and made roughly $250 million. That's right. He made $250 million from one fight and still didn't pay his. While the IRS was filing its lien, Floyd Mayweather was already drowning in lawsuits. And not from rival boxers or competing promoters, from landlords, from jewelers, from a private jet company. Let's start with the Manhattan apartment. Mayweather signed a lease for a sprawling 4,629 square foot duplex occupying the 18th and 19th floors of the Baccarat Hotel and Residences, a luxury condominium tower in Midtown Manhattan. The arrangement carried a monthly rent of $100,000. $100,000 a month for rent. According to a lawsuit filed in state court, the boxer's payments came to an abrupt halt. The lawsuit seeks $337,736.13, accounting for the $500,000 in unpaid rent plus late fees offset by an initial deposit and a partial payment. The property owner, Layla Sentner, spoke publicly about the situation. Sentner said she spoke with Mayweather after months of missed payments. He was surprised, she told Business Insider. He had no idea he was that far behind. He had no idea he was that far behind. That's either a sign that Floyd Mayweather has so much money he doesn't track $500,000 in rent, or it's a sign that something is very, very wrong. Then there are the jewelers. AJ's Jewelry filed suit alleging Mayweather owes more than $1 million for luxury timepieces and gold chains. According to the complaint, the boxer visited the store twice, departing with 26 watches from prestigious brands including Cartier, Patek Philippe, Rolex, and Audemars Piguet, along with 15 gold chains. The total bill came to $1.675 million, which Mayweather reportedly agreed to settle later. While he has remitted $300,000 toward the balance, the remainder remains unpaid. The lawsuit alleges that 5 checks from Mayweather bounced. 5 bounced checks from a man who calls himself money. And that wasn't the only jeweler. Another Miami jeweler, Leonard Suleimanov, sued Mayweather and associate Jonah Renitz in federal court, accusing them of failing to honor a settlement agreement reached in 2024. The original dispute centered on $3.9 million in watches and jewelry that he allegedly took without payment. So, between the two jewelers alone, we're looking at over $5 million in disputed luxury purchases. And then there's the private jet. Floyd Mayweather is facing another lawsuit over a $15,690 unpaid jet charter to the Turks and Caicos that he took. The suit was filed in Los Angeles County, naming Mayweather, his jewelry consultant buddy Jonah Renitz, and a few other defendants. The new LA lawsuit says Renitz knew Mayweather had a pattern of taking goods and services without paying for them. That's not just an accusation about one unpaid bill. That's an accusation of a systemic behavior. A pattern where Mayweather takes what he wants and walks away. And while all of this was happening, the unpaid rent, the bounced checks, the lawsuits piling up, Mayweather was posting pictures on Instagram sitting on a private jet surrounded by stacks of cash. The gap between the image Floyd Mayweather projects and the reality emerging in courtrooms across the country is widening by the day. But the picture gets even more troubling when you look at what he's been forced to sell. If the lawsuits were the smoke, then the asset sales are the fire. Mayweather sold his Gulfstream jet along with his Beverly Hills and Miami mansions to raise cash. Air Mayweather, that private jet he plastered across Instagram, the one that symbolized everything about the money brand. Gone. The Beverly Hills mansion gone. The Miami mansion gone. Mayweather's financial troubles include foreclosures on 2 commercial properties and the risk of losing a Las Vegas building that houses his strip club due to unpaid taxes. His strip club, the Girl Collection, one of his most well-known businesses, could be lost over $52,000 in delinquent property taxes. $52,000 for a man who once earned $300 million in a single night. Business Insider noted that Mayweather sold his private jet and mansions in Miami and Beverly Hills. Some of his other assets, such as residential properties and his Las Vegas strip club, were used as collateral for debt owed to financier Don Henke. So, he's not just selling assets, he's borrowing against the ones he hasn't sold yet. That's the behavior of someone in a cash crunch, not someone sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars. And yet Mayweather has denied any financial strain. His lawyer previously told Business Insider he is not struggling, and Mayweather continues to share images of his private flights and cash-filled luxury lifestyle. There's a contradiction here that's hard to ignore. On one hand, you have a man who is selling mansions, whose checks are bouncing, whose properties are in foreclosure, and who owes the IRS millions. On the other hand, you have a man posting videos of himself surrounded by cash, claiming everything is fine. It is incredibly difficult to pin down the exact state of Floyd Mayweather's net worth today. Over the course of his career, he has generated over $1.1 billion in career earnings. Unfortunately, if the Showtime lawsuit is even remotely accurate, he did not actually receive a large portion of those earnings. At his peak, Celebrity Net Worth estimated Floyd Mayweather's net worth at $500 million. Obviously, that number was based on the assumption that he actually received the money he earned. Today, they estimate his net worth at $100 million, but it's very hard to feel confident about that number. From $500 million to maybe $100 million. And even that number might be generous. Which brings us to the question of where did the money go? And the answer, according to Floyd Mayweather himself, is that it was stolen. Floyd Mayweather made a move that stunned the boxing world. Floyd Mayweather Jr. filed a $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Sports and former Showtime Sports president Steven Espinoza. Mayweather says he is owed at least $340 million and cites a complex web of hidden accounts, unauthorized transactions, and deliberate concealment of financial records as the reason he believes he has been defrauded of those funds. At the center of this claim is a man named Al Heyman, Mayweather's longtime advisor and manager. According to the filing, Heyman first began managing Mayweather's career under a verbal agreement that entitled Heyman to a 10% fee. That agreement technically expired after a year, but Heyman continued in the role for roughly 2 decades, handling contract negotiations, television deals, sponsorships, and investments. Mayweather signed a 30-month, 6-fight deal with Showtime that was at the time the richest for an individual athlete. Mayweather fought 8 pay-per-view events under the Showtime umbrella, which are estimated to have generated around 15 million buys and more than $1 billion in revenue. The Pacquiao fight alone was staggering. The Pacquiao bout still stands as the highest-grossing pay-per-view in history, with over 4.4 million purchases and $410 million in revenue generated. Mayweather reportedly earned around $250 million for that fight alone. But according to the lawsuit, a lot of that money never made it to Floyd. In the suit, Mayweather points to banking records that show large transfers to companies controlled by Heyman that were falsely labeled repayment or loan payoff. Tens of millions of dollars were moved to Al Heyman Development shortly after major fights. Other records show numerous one-off payments with memos like expenses accompanying many of them. To hide the stolen funds, Heyman only showed Floyd certain documents to keep the boxer from learning the exact sums earned from fights. On one occasion, the manager altered the date of a contract to misrepresent when it was signed. The lawsuit specifically targets Showtime and Espinoza, not Heyman, which is the most conspicuous element. The complaint describes Heyman as the architect of the alleged fraud scheme, yet targets only the network and the executive who facilitated the payments. Why not sue Heyman directly? The complaint acknowledges that Mayweather once considered Heyman a father figure who managed virtually every aspect of his finances. It's complicated. Veteran boxing journalist Dan Rafael noted that an individual familiar with the case said a second lawsuit against Heyman was expected. The decision to sue Showtime first may be a strategic choice, whether to access financial records through discovery or to establish the framework of the fraud allegations. Espinoza, for his part, pushed back. He said, "I'm proud of my reputation. I think it's one of integrity. I've never done anything to make sure that a fighter got less than every penny that he deserved." A spokesperson for Paramount, Showtime's parent company, called the claims baseless and lacking in factual merit. So, on one side, you have Floyd Mayweather saying $340 million was stolen from him through an elaborate decades-long fraud. On the other side, you have Showtime and Espinoza saying the claims are baseless. And somewhere in the middle, you have Al Heyman, the man accused of orchestrating everything, who hasn't said a word publicly. If the lawsuit is true, it would explain a great deal about Mayweather's financial situation. Over the course of his career, Mayweather generated over $1.1 billion in career earnings. Unfortunately, if the Showtime lawsuit is even remotely accurate, he did not actually receive a large portion of those earnings. But lawsuits take years. Discovery takes months. The IRS isn't waiting. The landlords aren't waiting. The jewelers aren't waiting. Which is why Floyd Mayweather is doing what Floyd Mayweather always does when he needs money. He's going back to the ring. Floyd Mayweather retired from